Welcome back, subscribers, and hello YouTube viewers. This is just a quick day trip. It's about a 30-minute drive from the place where I'm staying near Zadar. It's just a small village, a little countryside town. This is the main church. There's a few churches here. There's also a very small fort or castle, but it's more of a fort. You can't get in, it's all locked up. It's pretty old. There is a railway station. But the thing that stands out the most is pretty much this small church. That's quite pretty. We're going to go inside, see if we can take some photos. If we can, we can. If we can't, we can't. But we'll give it our best shot. So let's continue on. So the town is called Benkovac. I think that's how you pronounce it. So let's go. What a beauty. This is the music that's being played actually inside the church. Wow. That's the balcony. We'll make our way up to the balcony. There's the stairs. Now I know what that means. Svetna voda. It's been blessed. The water's been blessed in that canister. Now I have no idea what the build date of this church is, but I'll try to find out. Now there is a plaque in the middle of your screen, and it does mention something about 1981, but there's also a date of 1751, and it would surprise me if this was the built date of this church. So I'm going to go with 1751. Now for those that just might be curious, I know what that says. That says Zavoriti Vrata. In other words, close the door behind you, I guess. So you've got to keep the door closed. So there you have it. What a wonderful looking church. I would say that it was probably 1751 when it was built. I can't see why it wouldn't have been, especially when you look inside on what the church actually looks like. We'll go for a quick walk around and let's see what we see. Now this town is not the biggest town that I've been to that's more inland. So this is not a coastal town. This is an inland country town. And boy, I tell you, those who are thinking of coming to pretty much anywhere in Europe, and that includes the UK, it's just amazing how old the history really is when you compare it with Australia. Now I do fully understand we have the Indigenous Australians who go back centuries also, but unfortunately there's not too many man-made structures that have stood the test of time with the Indigenous Aboriginals of Australia. But wow, this is such a nice church. It would have seen so many conflicts, takeovers, wars, you name it. These churches are really built to last. Some of them get a hammering with artillery and whatnot. But every town does have some sort of church, either a small one, and on this occasion this one is quite large. Got its little tower for the church bells, and there are bells in there. So I'm guessing no one nicked those during any of the any wars or conflicts. I'll guess and say that the clergy live in these houses here, or it could be a school, because normally back in the day, pretty much it's fair to say that most of the schooling was done at the churches, and that also applies in Australia as well. If you go to some of those country towns, I've noticed the church had a big role in relation to educating the young, so to speak, until the government and the states took over. Now there is another plaque here, but I can't read it. It's very faded. It does have like a Roman cross or a Catholic cross. What's sort of thrown me a little bit is the alphabet used in this church. It's not like a modern day Croatian alphabet that I'm used to seeing, so I'm not sure if the church at one stage been another denomination. I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me. But I'm not at all an expert in the written language of this region. So there you go, very interesting. So if you're coming out to Croatia and you go just about anywhere and you're into sort of churches and old things, there's just too much. Really, every town I've been to has something that's quite a number of hundreds of years old. So let's continue on. I'll see if this railway station we're going to go to next is worth going to, and whether or not is there anything else to see there. Now I'll just jump in here and correct myself with the pronunciation of this town and the church that it's in. It's Benkovac. Now I've been pronouncing it as Benkovic. That's a nearby area, and there's a few other landmarks in the area and also tourist locations with that wording. So we're actually in the town of Benkovac, and this is the church of Benkovac. But I also have found some other information about the church. Now the historical data shows that this is an Orthodox church in Benkovac, and it was built on this site of the former Orthodox church that existed here in the 16th century. The church, dedicated to St. John the Baptist, was built by a vid Croatia in 1590. So 1590 is when this church was actually built, so that's quite interesting. So here we are at the Benkovac railway station. It does look deserted. All these stations look quite deserted, but they're all active. And I understand that most of the railways revolve around sort of the freight of stuff, more so than the need for public transport. I think I might have mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. A lot of these towns probably rely more on the bus service and a taxi service, but more so the bus than the trains. The trains are quite irregular, not as frequent, and they have like little hubs within towns where the buses come and they shoot people off wherever they need to go. So this is their station. We'll have a look, see what we see. It could be interesting, and if I can get the drone up, we'll get that drone up as well. So there's the platform. So their platforms are a bit different, but the effort involved to climb on board one of the carriages, I've seen a few now. It doesn't appear to be anything strenuous other than a step or two to go up, and it's sort of not at all similar to what you'd expect, say, in Australia, where you can virtually slide your foot or roll in a wheelchair or a trolley if you've got a trolley to carry stuff. This one requires people to step up and into not the most friendliest disabled friendly at all, but it is what it is. It's an older style of service they provide, and unfortunately those who are incapacitated in any way, it's going to be a struggle. So this is the station. As you can see, it looks like it's all closed. The ceiling is caved in certain spots. And it does very much look like trains might not be stopping here at all. Whatever that graffiti is on the wall, it is what it is. But no longer, I believe, that this railway station actually functions as a railway station, and I'm not 100% sure if actually the passenger trains actually do stop here. But if I get to ask someone, I will, and I'll update you whether or not this is a functioning passenger train station or just a freight stop. I don't see any timetables when the trains come and go. There is a door open there, the rest are all locked up. I think this could do with a bit of repair. It just goes to show you how it's been built. It looks like bamboo of some sort was holding the plaster together to make the ceiling. That's quite interesting. If I can make heads and tails of this, well, it does sort of show something about it being a train station, but I'm not sure if it actually still is a functioning one. Now I'm looking inside here. I don't know if it comes through well or not, but it does look like it's a functioning one. I can see the guy's little stick there where he waves to the driver of the train or the engineer of the train to say it's good to go, it's all clear. We'll go around the front and let's see what we see. Now it very much looks like the railway station has been turned into more of a storage area for a neighbouring company, which I suppose is good use for something that's not being used. It's been utilised for something. So this is the side of it. What else can I tell you guys that I'm noticing? It is a functioning railway station. I initially thought some of these stations that I've been to aren't, but I don't know if you can see. I'll do my best to zoom in, but way in the distance you can see a red light where the signal is for trains to stop or proceed. Now I can hear something ticking in the background like a crossing with the warning stuff, but I'm not sure if it actually is for the train or for something else. It'll be interesting if a train does come. It'll be pretty cool to catch. But we'll still have a look. We'll have a look this way. And I'll get the drone up if I can. So here we are at the old part of Benkovac. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm just making sure that when people are listening in that I'm apologetic to how I'm pronouncing their town. It's a lovely little strip. It's got a lot of shops. I'll turn the camera around, but this is the oldest pretty much part of the township itself. So we'll have a look, and it looks quite nice. So in the middle of your screen you've got Fast Food Lucy. I love the name. It looks like an old little pub, and this is the street that I believe is probably the oldest street in the town itself, and it looks quite spectacular. I do like the old church, or it could be a town hall with the clock, I'm not sure. I'm more inclined to think it might be a town hall, only because there's no crucifix anywhere to be seen from this angle as we approach it. So you've got a pharmacist just over here. So if you've got any ailments, pains, flus, this is the place for you. And if I see anything that I can read out aloud, I will. So you can see these old homesteads there. They're quite old with the shutters. And this one here, this one looks like a government building of sorts, but I'm not 100% sure. And if I can read some of the tablet thing there, it says Republic of Hrvatska. I'm going to guess and say, look, as I said, my Croatian is not fantastic. I can get away with certain things, and the vocabulary that I've got is very limited. I'd have to spend a lot more time here, but I'm pretty sure within 6 months I could pretty much pick it up. But yeah, this is probably the tourist side of this town, where people come, sit down, have a drink. I'm hoping as we get further down there is some sort of market. And obviously someone who's very fluent in English has got their signs up. Local wines, local liqueurs, olive oil, honey, jams, marmalades, almonds. So there you go. If I haven't mentioned it, the English language is taught at all school levels, or primary school as well, which I thought was quite interesting. And I think it is important because, as I said, the population in other videos is probably about 3 million people. That's about it. And the Croatia does rely a whole lot on tourism and hospitality. So because they get a swarm of people coming to the Adriatic from all parts of Europe and around the world, English is pretty important to be able to communicate with your holiday makers. Now it does appear that all the school kids are getting out of school at the moment, and they're all making their way home. It's getting close to 1:45, so I'm not sure what time they get out of school. This is your more modern church. Absolutely, this one. I do like these old buildings. Obviously no one's living in them. And this is like a mall for pedestrians only, unless you're doing deliveries. I do like the line of street lights or lamps. It looks terrific, very nice. And I'd hate to think how old they are. I'm going to guess that they're very old. So here we are at what appears to be the main sort of centre junction of the old part of the city. I can tell you there's modern high-rises for residential. There's two major sort of supermarkets that provide just about everything that any other supermarket would provide you in, you know, the UK or the US or Canada or Australia or New Zealand. And they're quite large, and they've got I spend a lot of time there getting bits and pieces, getting my lunch and dinner from there. It can be very cost effective if you go into these large supermarkets and get some food and cook it for yourself back at the place that you might be staying at if you're here for any given time. Now I do understand this PSK, that's sort of like a TAB or similar, where you do betting on football matches, I think. But you can just imagine during peak tourism, this whole area is just peppered with people walking around, sitting down, having coffees. From my understanding, what they sort of tell me is for 6 months of the year, they work really hard to accommodate all the tourists. It's like a flat-out effort, and then the other 6 months is pretty much low-key. And if you've done well for the first, or during the tourist season of the 6 months, that'll sustain you for the other 6 months. So here we are nearing the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Something a bit different. It's one of those towns that you can just sort of stumble into, walk around, absorb all the history. If you did like the video, by all means, click on that like button or that thumbs up icon. Please consider subscribing. Subscribing does not cost you 1 cent, but it really does help the channel immensely. But most importantly, stay safe, commute safe, and have a great day.